Hello, you got the Road Glide Rider here. And guess what I'm fixing to do to my 2021 Road Glide Standard? I'm going to install the CB radio. Now I'm going to use the factory Harley-Davidson CB radio. And it's really easy to do. One thing you got to remember, once you install it, you have to take it to the dealer. They want money. You have to have it activated with the Harley-Davidson digital technician. Now, before you do that, make sure you get everything else installed. Now, of course, the factory radio comes with the mounts, bracket for the radio itself, and the radio. It doesn't come with everything else. It also requires the separate purchase if you have a standard or deluxe. I'm not sure about the limited. The limited might already have this, but you have to change the right control switch assembly because you have to add in the push to talk button because it does not have it on the standard or on the special. Now, the switches are the same from 2014 all the way up to current, so you don't have to worry about getting different ones. It talks about the switch caps or the labeling for the switches are different, and certain switches on are because of the way the wiring is from 2014 to 2018 and 2019 and later. Now I changed mine over to the chrome switch covers, so I had all the stuff upgraded for my 2021 model. Now, one other thing that does not come with the radio, it doesn't come with the antenna wires or the antenna. Now the instructions specify it requires a separate purchase of the CB antenna, but it doesn't tell you about the wiring coming from the CB and the fairing back to the back. That's required separate purchase too. Now I installed the chrome caps on mine, and I installed the CB antenna going from the fairing to under my seat at that time because they had to take the tank off and run wires. I did that then. But now all I do is hook the wire up going from the seat to the back to the antenna itself. Now Harley-Davidson sells two types of antennas really. If you have a Tour Pak, they have an extension that comes back, runs into the Tour Pak, and you can mount it on the light bar in the back. If you have a limited, I think you can do that if it doesn't already have it in there, but I don't want to do that. Now the other way it has a remote antenna mount for AM/FM and also for the CB antenna. It's for the people that are going to run the Tour Pak but don't want to use the antenna mounts on the Tour Pak. They go down, they bolt down on the mounts for the mufflers, and they extend out past the fender, and they come up and they extend out and go up behind the Tour Pak. Now, I don't want that. I don't want extra wires hanging out like that. Now, what I have now is on my AM/FM, I've got a shorty antenna that is screwed on right there where stock is on the limited, but it's about that much shorter than the Tour Pak, so it fits perfectly and it works great. Now what I did is I found a flag mount from Ceros that is used to mount on the opposite side of the AM/FM antenna to mount a flag up to your fender if you want to run a flag. Well, I bought that, and I'm going to enlarge the hole to take and put a BNC connector in it. That way I can hook a CB antenna up there. And I purchased a CB antenna that is a shorty, which is electrically wired. It is actually full length for a CB, which is 27 megahertz frequency broadcast. Now, on my 2009 Road Glide, I had a CB in there also, and I used a remote antenna hidden inside the fairing. It worked, but it really wasn't that good. It was good enough for just, we had group rides. I could talk usually about half a mile or so ahead of me. Now, by hooking up an actual antenna on the back, I should be able to work a lot better. So we're gonna start getting this installed. Now let me show you what I got first, and then we'll start installing it. Now this is my kit itself. You can see my CB antenna, I should say my CB radio. Now, also, I went ahead and when I was looking at what to do, I got the extension cable that goes from the CB in the fairing underneath the gas tank to a spot under the seat. And then I got a extension from the mount under the seat that goes to the Tour Pak. I was looking at doing something I'm going to show you, but I decided to go a different way. But let me show you what I was going to do. Now, this is the wire that's made to go. This plugs into the cable coming from the fairing under the gas tank and terminating under the seat, and this is made to go from that point up through the Tour Pak and to the antenna mount on the Tour Pak. Now, what I was looking at doing, since this basically uses a terminal type situation on it to connect, I was looking at hooking up connectors up to it to hook it up to the antenna mount. But I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't want to go to the external mount that mounts the Tour Pak, so I found this. It's from Ceros, and what this is, let me get it out and I'll show you. I gotta open it up. First time I popping the seal on this. What this is, this actually mounts the exact same as the other, and it's made for the flag to mount. See, it bolts in to the fender strut, and it comes up so that you can mount a flag to it. Now, you can use a bolt and use the antenna that they sell, Harley sells, but then you got a long thing on it. I'm going to use a BNC. Now, BNC antenna connector is a bayonet style. As you can see here, it's just a push-pull tab. And what I was going to do is I was going to, of course, drill out. Now I was going to mount these to this mount right here, and it has a BNC on the other end of it. Then I was going to connect up one of these terminals onto this cable right here. There's been a lot of soldering. Well, in searching around, I actually found a cable that plugs in exactly the same as the Harley cable, but it's a solid mount and it already has the BNC connected to the end of it, which means that there's less soldering, less impedance for my CB. So I'm going to, of course, drill this hole out to make sure it fits. Then I'm going to mount one of these into it so that the antenna will slide right in. And it's a shorty antenna, so it'll fit under my Tour Pak. It's also flexible. See, it's flexible, so even if it touches the bottom of the Tour Pak, it's not going to hurt it. Now, on my previous Road Glide, my 09 Road Glide, I had a CB in it, but for the antenna, I use a J&M hidden CB antenna in my fairing. Well, J&M doesn't make that anymore. It's no longer available. You can't find it anywhere. Believe me, I searched for it. Now, the disadvantage of that J&M hidden antenna is you don't get very much range. It's true. I usually got maybe at the most half a mile, which for what I was doing it for was great because I was using when group rides, we'd have somebody in the front and somebody in the back, we'd talk back and forth on CB. Now, I'm putting the CB in this one now. I know everybody's talking about, oh, you got Bluetooth and got the wireless headsets that connect up to multiple. Well, not everybody's got that. Not everybody's got that wireless headset, that WIM installed. I don't want that. I don't want to have my helmet tied to batteries and stuff. I plug my headset right in, and believe me, if I was to fall off, it's gonna pop that cord out. I'm not gonna worry about that. But a lot of people are old school like me that, hey, I don't want a lot of this extra junk to go wrong. Get a CB, no problem. I can talk back and forth. And with this antenna, instead of the hidden antenna, I probably will get better range because it'll actually be an outside full-length antenna that is made for CB. It's pre-tuned, so all I do is plug it in and it'll work. So we're going to go out and I'm going to start preparing this stuff to get going. I wanted to cover what I got first. Now, one thing about it, this is the picture of the package that with a part number on it. If you're going to add a CB to yours, you need to hook this up and get to run the wire underneath the seat. Now, one other thing too is, unless you have a limited, I think the limited comes with the push to talk button on the hand control, but the others don't. So you're going to have to change the hand control on the right side to the hand control that has the push to talk button. Now, I have a previous video where I put chrome covers on my switches, and I showed where I changed that already. So that's already on my bike. So that's one advantage I got. So all I have to do is take the fairing off, put CB in, mount CB up. Good. Got the instructions here, Harley-Davidson instructions, and the CB to mount it up. This mounts to the bottom part of the mount at radial mount, and then of course this bolts to that, and it plugs right in. And the antenna screws on this, and it's good to go. So let me get out there and I'll start working on this. I'll show you how it works out and how easy it is to do if you want to add CB to yours. See you in a minute. Now what you do is you get this wire, this is the antenna wire, and run it underneath the tank in the trough, and that way you can get it to the antenna lead coming from the CB antenna. That's the easy part to do. Just take the tank off, which is very simple. There's all kinds of YouTube videos showing how to take the tank off. Take the tank off and run it under there. And I'll show you how to connect it up. Now, what I've done is this is that angle piece for the flag. And I had to make this hole bigger because this is the BNC connector. She's got the threaded holes here so that it will accept this and go in there, and I bolt it on. Then this will actually mount down on the fender strut, and the BNC will have the antenna go in the top here, and the wire will connect here to better get the CB antenna working. I'll show you where it goes. Now this is the antenna for the CB with the mount already bolted in. So you can see how they mount in. It connects up real easy. Now let me show you what it looks like on the bike. Now this is the fender strut right here, and this is the plug cover it's got that goes over it. Here's the hole. Now this mounts in exactly like the one on the other side. It goes to this hole right here. This actually mounts here, bolts in right here, and the CB antenna will come out right here. That's exactly the way it goes. The wire will run up, it goes under the seat, and connects in. But that's why I needed this to mount it here instead of having the bracket that mounts down here and sticks out up here and clears the Tour Pak. I want to make sure I clear my Tour Pak because I'm going to have my Tour Pak on here. So let's get going. Now here's the picture of the antenna mounted on the bike. It comes in real good, and it just fits underneath the Tour Pak perfectly. It bolts in just the same as the AM/FM. So we'll get it on. Now I've got the antenna connector you saw me make and put the antenna on. I've got it bolted in the same as the stock AM/FM antenna on the other side. Here the cable is I bought runs up here. I got a cable tied up here, run up here, and run here, and runs under the seat. And connects up to the antenna wire coming from the fairing. Just plugs right in, sits right down. Now I'll take the fairing off and hook the CB up. Now, I've got the CB module mounted in the fairing. There's 2 screws that go in right here to hold the bracket that hold the fairing in. Now, here's the antenna wire that I ran under the tank, and here's the plug that plugs in. It plugs in to this right here. It had a dummy plug in it. Now, one thing about it is I have the accessory line run, and it also plugs to the same one. So what I have to do now is take these wires and mount them here. If you look there's actually nothing using the wire here, another wire right here where these wires go right here. So what I do is have to move these wires to this plug, so I plug in, and the accessory line will still work. But if you don't have the accessory line, don't worry about it. Just take it, plug it in, and you're good to go. Now, make sure that you have no wires up under the mounting housing when you put this in, because it makes it harder to bolt it in. These 2 screws right here. Now what I did to get it up there is I took the nut on the inside is a 3/8. I put a piece of tape on the end of a box end to hold the nut up there, and then I used the T20 Torx to tighten the screws down. Once I got those in there, now once you get in there, you have to also make sure that there's no wires going in the way when you put the CB in there, because the one wire that actually does get in the way is for the fuel gauge. Make sure that the fuel gauge is clear behind the mounting housing before you try to put the radio in. I plug that in, and then the antenna just screws in to this right here. And your CB is mounted. Put the fairing back on. Now, one thing about it, make sure you have to now take it down to the dealer to have them activate in the radio. I'm gonna put the fairing back on, and we'll get it going. Now, as you can see on the Road Glide Limited, it has the connection for the CB antenna, and the wires are already ran in and connected up. They run in and they come out under the lights under here and the wiring and stuff. The antenna wire is already there. So if you want to add the CB antenna to a Limited, all you have to have is the antenna itself. It's not like the Tour Pak you add on to the Special or the Standard. Now, one thing I did find out, they do not come with the controls that have the push to talk. You have to add the push to talk, even on the Limited. So that's something that has to be added on either the Standard, the Special, or the Road Glide Limited. So now let's get ready. Now, this is the push to talk button that's not on the others. I showed you another. I'll put the chrome covers on just to dress it up. Now, once you have the CB turned on in the infotainment center, it'll come in, you go to this screen, and you'll see a little CB down here. You go down here, you press this right here, which is the stuff they access to the controls, right there. And that's for the intercom. And then there's CB, and I come up with CB. Now this turns the CB on and off. See, it's off, and it's on. When it's off, go back, and you notice it doesn't say CB down here. But, go to CB, you turn it on, and it says CB. Now, this one, I'm going to turn these speakers on the outside here. mounting. I'm going to turn the speakers on right here. That's the radio. That's the radio. Now the communications is the CB. And either go to the headset or to the speakers here. Now if not, I got set to go to the speakers here. Now the radio is not going here. And this, as I said, it's got the squelch button. I press down on this. See the squelch? Squelch goes up and down. Now see, once you have squelch on CB itself, the volume control will actually control the CB volume. And of course you want to go back to your radio and everything else. Exit, go back up here, goes to the radios, and goes to the map reading and things like this. So, like I said, you get it turned on by the CB at the dealer through the digital technician. Well, this is the Road Glide Rider. Now I have the CB installed with the shorty antenna, and it's turned on. I actually did it. I just got back from a cross-country ride. That's why I like the CB, and it works real good. I had a range about 4 to 5 miles. I had the squelch, so I could put it just barely above off, and I could hear truckers talking all over the place. I actually helped me one time when they had a backup of trucks, of traffic, in one of the states that I was going across. And the CB worked a lot better than it did with that hidden antenna I used to have in my earlier Road Glide. So, if you want to have the CB, I've shown you how to do it real easy. Now, make sure when you take it to the dealer that does it knows what they're doing. Because the first dealer I took it to have it activated, they charged me over an hour's work. They took the fairing off and everything else. And they said that they contacted Milwaukee. They didn't say Milwaukee, they said that the staff or somebody else. And they said it couldn't be installed on my model. But I'd already studied it. All the paperwork said it could be. All the plugs were there. Everything was there. So I knew something was wrong somewhere. So I just left it alone. I went and found another dealer that I knew what he was doing. They had a couple of technicians been there doing Harleys for a long time. And hey, they went in, programmed it, turned it on. Hey, great, it's easy. The only thing they did is they had to take the fairing off to verify all the wiring, because they didn't put it in. But it's factory wiring, so they verified everything's working right. Activated, it worked great. Absolutely perfect. So, if you want to put a CB in your bike rather than that WIM, I've shown you how to do it a lot less expensive than using the Harley antennas and everything else. If you get a used radio, like I did, make sure the owner that you're buying it from guarantees it'll work. Mine worked great, the whole shot. So install it and look at my other videos. It'll show you how I did some of the switches and other things I've done. I'm going to be doing some more. So tune in. Like this video if you like it. If you think it's worthwhile, like it. It helps the algorithm with YouTube. The more people that like it, the better that it'll be, and more they'll actually make it available to other people. Share it. If you know somebody that was thinking about CB8. Now, this installation is going to be the same basically as a Street Glide, Limited, Standard, the Special, both the Electric Glide and the Tour Glide. The difference is where the radio itself mounts. And you can actually go to the Harley website and get the instructions, and it shows the difference between the two mounts. But anybody can do it, put it in, and it's a lot less than that WIM thing. You don't have to have the headphones and stuff, but if you want to talk, yeah, it's going to help. You got to have something like that to talk. Now, if you, I'm not sure how it would work with a WIM, because I'm sure you can, but I don't know. Maybe the instructions on WIM tells you how to do it. But I have the headset plugged in. That's what I use for mine. And of course, the Limiteds have the headset plug also, so they can do that. They add the WIM, so it must work with both. So like this video, share it with people you know, make comments. If you have any comments, questions, put it down there, and I try to read. I do read every comment and try to answer every question. So just keep watching. I got some more things I'm making to do. I got some parts and stuff I'm going to put on. So you guys ride safe, and I'll see you on the road.